If your home always feels tense, if you're walking on eggshells around your wife or kids, if you kneel down to pray and it just feels dead, flat, mechanical, and you're starting to wonder, is this just how it is now? Then this video is for you. I'm Will from patriarchy.com. We help Christian husbands become calm, virtuous leaders their families can actually trust. Here's a question drawn from many cases of men we've coached, and also from you in the comments. Well, our home never feels at peace. My wife is anxious or snappy. The kids are loud and disobedient. And when I try to pray, I feel nothing. I'm going through the motions. Mass, grace before meals, but it feels like God is far away and my house is permanently on edge. What am I missing as a husband? So, this doesn't mean you're cursed, but you are being invited to wake up. In this video, we're going to cover first why the tension in your home is often a symptom of your interior life. Second, why your prayer feels dead, and what's normal dryness versus what's a real problem. And third, a simple plan to begin restoring peace at home by changing how you show up before God. And around halfway through, I'll give you one question about your kids' future that you won't be able to forget. So stay with me. First, the atmosphere of your home starts inside you. The church teaches that the father is the head of the family, not just for money and rules, but for the spirit of the house. So think of it like this. If your nervous system is permanently jacked up with stress, resentment, and distraction, and you never really bring that to God, your family are living inside that storm. Psychologically, we know this too. Kids and wives are extremely sensitive to a man's emotional frame. They pick up your tone, your tension, your distance, even when you say nothing. So, wives will often say things like, the home feels heavy. He's always elsewhere, mentally. I feel like I'm carrying everything alone. And at the same time, men will say things like, I don't feel God. Prayer is dry. I go to Mass, but it doesn't touch me. So you've got a man who is spiritually half asleep, drifting through his day, and a family trying to interpret whether God is real by looking at him. This is why St. Philip Neri said that men are generally the carpenters of their own crosses. If your home is a cross of tension, you probably helped hammer some of those nails in. That's not to crush you, it's to give you hope, because what you helped create, you can, with grace, begin to change. So let's talk about prayer. There are two realities we have to hold together. First, dryness in prayer is normal. The spiritual life is described by the saints as a battle, and Father Scopoli in The Spiritual Combat outlines it in this way. God does not give us sweetness all the time. He often lets us feel nothing precisely so we can learn to love him by faith, not by feelings. Second, sometimes our prayer feels dead because we're trying to pray on top of a life that is objectively disordered. So a typical pattern would go something like, you're in serious sin, porn, drunken anger, adultery of the heart, but you're vague about it in confession, or you just avoid confession altogether. And you never build regular habits of daily prayer. You just fit it in if you can. Then you treat Mass like a box to tick, not a sacrifice to unite yourself. So then you wonder why you feel far from God. And moral theology is very realistic here. Mortal sins kill charity in your soul. You can't enjoy God as a friend while clinging to grave sin. Long patterns of venial sin, resentment, and laziness can also darken the mind and cool the heart. So, in Aquinas' terms, you have formed habits against God. So, of course, turning to him feels awkward stiff, and cold. The solution is not to chase a spiritual high, it's to start rebuilding habits that match the reality that you say you believe. So let me put it this way: if nothing changes, if your prayer stays half hearted and your home stays tense, what do you honestly think your children will remember in 10 years? Will they say, "My dad was a man of peace. When he prayed, he changed. Being around him felt safe and calm"? Or, "Dad went to mass, I guess, but our house felt anxious, cold. God never seemed to make any difference to him"? Now, if that possibility bothers you, and it should, then don't click away, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a simple and concrete plan to start changing the spirit of your home by changing how you show up before God each day. So the first thing is this: you must decide that as a husband and a father, daily contact with God is a priority. Not if I get time, not if I feel spiritual, but as part of your job description. So it's a very simple framework. In the morning, before you pick up your phone, just 5-10 minutes. Then at night, again, 5 to 10 minutes as an examen before bed. Then weekly, Sunday Mass, like your life depends on it. And at least monthly, confession, honest and concrete. So the morning might look like this: make the sign of the cross and then offer the day. Lord, I offer you my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings today for my wife and children. Then spend a few minutes in silence or with the short scripture verse asking, what is my duty as husband and father today? Where do you want me to obey? Then night might look something like this: thank God for specific goods that day. Then ask, where did I fail in charity and justice towards my wife and kids? And make a short act of contrition and concrete resolution for tomorrow. You will often feel nothing. Good. Do it anyway. You're training a new habit in your soul, like strengthening a weak muscle. And this isn't just about feeling better at prayer. It's about how you show up in the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom. When you start each day consciously under God, you're less likely to bite your wife's head off because you're aware. I answer to him for how I speak to her. You're more likely to step into conflict with the kids calmly because you've already asked for the grace to lead. And you're less tempted to doom scroll or just numb out all night because you've seen in your examen how that leaves your house feeling the next day. Scopoli says that we must learn to distrust ourselves and rely on God in every battle. And that means you stop pretending you can be a good husband and father on leftover energy and vague goodwill. You consciously plug back into God as your source of grace. Now, one practical thing you can introduce this week: choose one small prayer you will lead every day in the home. It could be grace before meals, done slowly and attentively. It could be a decade of the rosary after dinner. It could be night prayer with the kids. And you tell your family, I failed to lead spiritually in the way that I should. That changes now. Every day we're going to, whatever it is you've decided. It won't be long, but it will be consistent. Don't make speeches every time. Just do it. You're not aiming at perfect piety. You're building a sense that in this house, Dad turns the family to God. Even if your wife is lukewarm, even if the kids roll their eyes, you lead. So once a week, maybe Sunday evening, you can ask yourself these 3 questions. Did I keep my daily times of prayer, even briefly? Did I lead the family in our chosen daily prayer? Did I bring peace or tension into the house more often this week? If the answers are discouraging, remember St. Philip Neri again. We must not lose heart because we are tempted against our resolutions. Okay? We must not lose heart because we are tempted against our resolutions. You don't fix 10 years of disorder in 10 days. But if you keep showing up before God and taking responsibility in the home, the atmosphere will shift over time. Now, if this has exposed how far your spiritual life and your home life have drifted apart, don't just feel bad. Take the hint. Inside Patriarchy School at patriarchy.com, we walk with Christian husbands who want less tension, more order, and real spiritual leadership in the home. You get tools, accountability, and also coaching, so you're not trying to do this alone in your head at midnight with no support. Men inside report fewer blow-ups, warmer wives, and also homes that finally feel peaceful again. So here's some homework for you. First, pick a time tomorrow morning and night to meet God for 5 minutes. Put it on your calendar. In the comments, tell me honestly, is your home currently marked more by peace or by tension? And what do you want your kids to remember? What is it about what I've said today that stood out most to you, and why? You're not stuck with a tense house and a dead prayer life. You're a Catholic man, so ask for the grace that you need to be a good husband, be a good father. Pick up your cross and start rebuilding peace, one prayer and one day at a time.